Hey everybody, it's Saturday night, July 26, 2025. This is Across the Pitch Union Postgame Show. I am Mike Barrera. I'm joined by my good pal, Dave Miller. Dave, as I share out social media links, take it away for about 45 seconds or so. How are you doing? How was your Saturday? And what are your thoughts on the Union's stressful 3-1 win?
Well, it's been a good Saturday. I mean, Gills won their final preseason game, so it was good to, finally get, end the preseason on a high. And then Phillies back, been a good day. The Phillies, obviously, again, with a massive win over the Yankees in New York. And then the Union made it 3 for 3 tonight with a massive win against Colorado. And I think we'll bring up some of the comments in a minute. But first team in the MLS to 50 points, extend their lead at the top of the extend their lead over the likes of Nashville, Columbus, and Miami. Obviously, Cincinnati dropping points tonight as well was allowed them to creep back up to first in the table. Massive win. I think we'll discuss it more as the show goes on, but the game could have been out of sight in the first half, let alone putting the game to bed in the final seconds. I think I said you and the guys in the group chat, like, the Union will at half times, like, the Union will score. The amount of chances they're creating, and like in good areas, they will get a chance. And funny enough, Baribo scores pretty much a very similar goal to the one that Downey somehow missed from
Yeah,
exact same
right.
from the other side on the other end of the pitch during the first half. So I mean, yeah, again, 3-1, very good performance going forward. Again, could have probably been 5, 6, 7 if
Absolutely.
everything had gone perfect. I mean, we'll get into it. I mean, half the team could have scored.
Yeah, the Union. Let's just get to the comments first, actually, because there's so much to talk about tonight. Valerie says I had to miss the first half because of work, but she came back for the second half, sent out good vibes. She's accepting thanks for the win. Yeah, Valerie, you came in the second half and the Union turned it on in the second half. So I guess we have to thank you for tonight's victory. Steve says good match in the final score. The final score not really indicative of what the scoreline should have been, which kind of alludes to your point, Dave. It could have easily been 5-1, 6-1. I think you had three missed opportunities in the first half alone. Mandy highlights what you talked about as well, Dave. First to 50, which is phenomenal. Again, after what we saw last season and the struggle and stress we had last year, to have this amazing turnaround and being the first MLS club this season to get to 50 points is just, I mean, tip our hat to Carnell once again. Michael joins us tonight. Michael F. and Ua. That's exactly right, Mike. Listen, let's look at some numbers here, first of all. Statistic wise, Union had 61% possession. Honestly, it felt like more. They felt like they had the ball the entire match, especially in the first half. It just seemed like Colorado could never get a hold of the ball. They had 11 shots on goal. They had 27 shot attempts tonight for the Philadelphia Union. In comparison, Colorado had 5 shot attempts and they only had 1 shot on goal, of course, being the one they scored. Corner kicks as well, another high number here. They had 11 corner kicks compared to Colorado's only one. And then Stefan played really fantastic tonight. Really, I mean, he really had no choice but to play as well as he did. He had 8 saves, while Andre Blake didn't really have to do much tonight at all. Let's look at the starting 11 though, because that was something that I noticed right away in terms of a bit worrisome. If you guys read my match preview, you saw that we had a lot of basically people out for tonight's game. We had Nathan Harrell was out on yellow card accumulation. Frankie Westfield was out on a red card suspension after the Houston match. We had 4 players on yellow card watch because one more and they would be suspended for the next match. Ben Bender had a calf injury in training and he was on the Friday injury report. Kevin Sullivan was away for Man City. I mean, you really had a fairly thin rotation and lineup going into tonight. And this was a game that I had mentioned in my preview would have been great for David Vasquez to come in as another option, but then he gets loaned out to San Diego just earlier this week. So it's just one of those things where, yeah, like you really were trying to figure out how Bradley Carnell was going to put together this lineup. The starters tonight were Andre Blake, Macania, Jacob Glessens at center backs, Kai Wagner, Olivier Mbaizo on the right back. Pretty obvious considering what I just mentioned with Nathan and Frankie being out. Jovan and Danley, Vasilev and Quinn, Baribo and Damiani. All makes sense. All basically what we've seen so far. The bench, though, had me questioning a few things. Andrew Rick and Oliver Semle made the bench. Chris Donovan, Neil Pierre, Jesus Bueno, Ua Bedoya Raffanello, and that's it. Dave, just on the bench alone, 2 goalkeepers, and you don't have a right back. Oh, I forgot to mention Sal Levis as well. You don't have a right back on the bench. A little surprised at all that we didn't see maybe some more Union 2 players up there like LaFleur or Periano. I mean, it's definitely one that had me thinking they're really gonna have to rely on Bedoya, Raffanello, and Ua big time, which they did tonight.
Um, I think we've seen it before. I mean, like in games this year where, when was it? Like a few weeks ago. I think they were really short-handed on the bench, and they never called up anyone really to occupy those spaces.
Mhm.
Even then, obviously, I guess probably would have had another bench. 'Cause obviously, Anderson's obviously injured as well, so I mean, you probably would have had another bench space there
Yep.
allocated for him, perhaps. But I mean, I guess it gives you a reason to put Samler in the matchday squad. But on top of that, I guess you have players in the squad who could fill in at right back as well if there was an injury. I mean, I'm pretty sure we saw Lukic play centre half.
Yeah,
Uh,
Bedoya's played right back.
Lukic could play centre half and right back. I
Yep.
mean, both as centre midfielders, you probably feel comfortable with playing right back. And you said Bedoya as well. I mean, I'm sure a player like Jesus Bueno is probably scrappy enough and athletic enough to play right back. So, I mean, you probably have the options there where I guess if the player who was playing that position made a mistake, they were probably going to be too far out the way or too far wide. So, really cost you. There'd be players
Yeah.
around you in case Bizer had to go off, whatever. But yeah, I guess you just got to put all the players you know and trust on the bench. And I guess that's what they did tonight. And as you sort of alluded to, it paid off with Bedore and
Yep.
Mikel, especially making an impact.
And that's a thing that we've seen already from Bradley Carnell. And again, one thing that I mentioned in my match preview, we saw recently where we had Jacob Glesnes and it was the back line against Houston was Frankie, Nate, Olivier, and Jacob. And so it's like, okay, you really don't have a center back besides McCanya. Because I don't think Neil Pierre was on that bench. But we've seen that Carnell will go with only 2 real center backs and Nathan Harrell being that floating guy between right back and center back. But also, it's obvious that he values versatility. He will put Raffanello at the attacking mid, the defensive mid, or right back. He'll put Bedoya at the attacking mid, defensive mid, or right back. So I think traditionally you want to see a backup for every single position you have on the field. But at the same time, I think Carnell's approaching this rotation with whoever's going to be there is going to step up and play that position, whether they like it or not, or whether they want to or not, or whether they're comfortable or not. And so far, the players have bought in, and it's ended up resulting in one of the best Union seasons we've had in recent history. So whatever Cardell's doing, I can't question it too much. But let's dive into the first half a bit here. So let me pull up some notes. Actually, before I even do that, some scoreboard watching. Nashville and Columbus lost last night. Cincinnati and Miami drew today, again, allowing the Union to go up into first place with 50 points. So let's get into some early notes here. I believe it was Lukic in the first half had a volley in the box, bounces it, it gets saved by Stefan. DJ Danley Jean Jacques had a shot saved by Stefan. Bruno had a header on net. You had I'm trying to keep going down the list here. You had Danley missed the goal from like 2 feet out. In the first half alone, the Union looked extremely dangerous, but it just didn't seem like they could buy a goal at all. I mean, Dave, what were you seeing in that first half? Because it seemed like we were the better team, but we just didn't have that goal to show for it.
Yeah, I mean, just chance after chance after chance after chance, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially a lot of the play coming from that right hand side. Funny enough, I mean, I think it's probably more of a testament to the influence that Quinn Sullivan has in the game than the fact that Union field. I mean, we've seen it countless times, not just this season, but in the past, where they've gone down the left every single time. The whole attacking philosophy is get the ball down the left and attack the left. But tonight, a lot of the play came from the right in that first half, and as we sort of as you alluded to, I mean, the ball across the low ball. I think it's by Sullivan across the box for the Darnley miss.
Yeah.
The Damiani header as well. It just, as you sort of alluded to, it didn't feel like it was going to be their day. But for me, I knew the Union would score. I think I said it in the group chat. No, I just thought the amount of space they were getting and the amount of chances they were creating, there was no way they weren't going to get another chance similar to the Darnley one. And obviously, they did later in the second half. But yeah, I guess it's just a case of a matter of frustration, isn't it? People just not taking their chances and I mean, we've had people concerned about that before, where Damiani having those chances. What's the game? It was New England, was it? One of the games they drew 0-0 in. I think Damiani had about 4 or 5 chances, but
Yeah, I think it was against New England. One of the, but
yeah,
I know which one match you're talking about. Yep.
it was 0-0 draw, wasn't it? A lot of players were out, but yeah, it's just they get fair play to them. Oh no, it was the FC Dallas game. That's matter.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, credit to them. The team they kept chipping away. It could have been easy at half time to have gone in and been frustrated that he's somehow with a goal behind after creating all those chances and applying all that pressure. And again, I guess at the same time, we sat there thinking as well, like Zach Steffens having the game of his life. Like if he played like that in England, he'd still be playing for a top championship or Premier League club. So I mean,
Well, and that was the thing. There was one opportunity where Quinn had, I think it was a pass from Olivier. So Quinn's basically maybe 3 yards away from Stefan, and he just hits him. But Stefan doesn't move. He just takes it right on the chest.
yeah,
I mean, he was playing fearless, and even if you saw, I mean, Higginbottom highlighted this a lot on the corner kicks. Like it was extremely congested in front of
oh
Stefan
yeah,
on every single corner kick. I mean, like they were just basically crowding where he couldn't move, and he had to go around. He had a couple punch outs that really kind of kept himself out of danger. So credit to him. He really had a spectacular first half. Really played well even in the second half. Aside, obviously, the goals were a tough one, but there's only so much a goalkeeper can do when his defense just allows that much shots on target. One of the things that I wanted to mention here, Elijah says Mbaizo had a great game this time. I was a little iffy on Mbaizo. I did highlight though in my notes, and you mentioned as well how they played more on the right hand side, and they played well on the right hand side, and you saw that even in the second half, especially with Alejandro
yeah.
Bedoya going back and forth with Olivier. To me though, I feel like Olivier's crosses still leave me a lot. Just begging for more from Olivier. I don't know what you saw from Olivier. I think there were some times where he had good defensive moments and he had okay crosses. And other times where you're like, I really wish Frankie was in at that point.
I alluded to it in the chat. I think the most frustrating thing was the goal they conceded, and you sort of see like you have 3-4 players in the penalty area tracking back as Colorado commit number sword and break forward, and you see all these players jogging back. And I called Kai Wagner out for it a few weeks ago. It's just the lack of urgency to get back and defend. I mean, you're watching, and Barzo's one of the defenders essentially jogged back, and he's 30 yards away from the goal, whereas the ball's being headed into the net. And you're thinking, you're the right back here, and there's an overload. Why are you not busting the gut to get back and try and cause disruption? I think the way that the Colorado goal happened, it was just essentially a 3-on-2. It was Macania had to go and press the ball because Jack Glesnes was man marking the player, because Macania had to go for the ball. He left the player unmarked, who was I'm trying to think with the bar now. But was whoever at the post or the woodwork, which then led to the goal for Navarro's goal. And by that point,
I believe it was Bassett hit the post, and then Navajo was left open for the goal. Yeah,
I mean, he was left open in the box. Obviously, Kai Wagner was obviously committed high at the pitch because he's trying to get forward. And I guess you could say the same for Bizer, but you see the difference that Wagner's bust the gut to get back, and Lisa's in the box tracking back, whereas you have Bizer and others that was not in the box, not tracking back. He might not have prevented the goal. Who knows? But you just think maybe having that extra body back or an extra player coming in late or getting in there late to try and what's the word? Yeah, perhaps cause a bit of distraction and cause a bit of panic, whatever, may have prevented the goal. But I guess apart from that, that was probably the only real criticism for him. Well, I think Julie to the crossing as well. Sorry, I mean that's been iffy. That's been on off and so for since the Supporter Shield year. I think that was probably the peak of Olivier and Bizo. We just sort of haven't reached that same level since.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we kind of know what he is when he's really, really good, but also kind of expect him to have these moments where he's like, scratching your head with some of his crosses and his play. I mean, Lord of Olympia mentions here, with one exception, the defense was in control all night. And that was one thing that I looked at over the last few games. So in, I think, the last 4 matches, we've given up 3 goals. But 2 of those goals were from the penalty spot. So it's like the defense really has kept teams out of the net. It's been spectacular, considering how the defense looked earlier in the year. how much they've progressed over the season. But right now, it's like teams are struggling to score one goal in this team, and I can't remember the last time they gave up 2 goals. I mean, probably someone can tell me off the top of their head, but I'm not looking at their season right now. But it just doesn't seem like Union are going to give up more than one a game, and that's awesome. When the offense is struggling the way it is in terms of like putting something into the net, it's at least okay, your defense is going to keep you in this game, and even if they do give up a goal, which they did tonight, they'll keep it to one and allow the offense to make their comeback. Jose has joined us in the studio tonight. Jose, I'm going to bring up a couple more comments as I'm falling behind and then shoot to you. We have Joe joined us here. Happy 200th win for the club. They have their 200th franchise win. That's fantastic there. Let's see. We got Jillian Almany from Union Yards joining us. Love to see it, Jillian. Thanks for joining us tonight. Mandy says, finally got out of the parking lot and got service. Hello, all. What a match. Mandy, thanks for sticking around. Have a safe drive home. And Cole, not going to lie, I'm starting to worry if transfer talks are underway for Quinn behind his back. Recent substitutions with him have not been normal. Jose, thoughts on the match? Anything from the press conference that was eye-opening for you?
Can you hear me okay, first and foremost?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Sometimes it gets a little weird when I jump on with my tablet. It was a game that was, I think, I didn't listen to anything you guys were saying as I was listening to Carnell and more on that, but the Union were doing all things right, but the final touch there at the end of in terms of like the offensive third, right, of trying to push it in. Danley had a sitter. Damiani had a header that was cleared off the line, and then another one where he hits Stefan in the chest. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots on target. If not, it must be close to like a record night for both shots on target or in shots taken. Certainly another one of those performances where they completely dominated possession. So it really should have been probably more than. It should not have come down to Mikel Ua being the substitute to be the change. But it is what it is. Bradley was interesting. I chuckle because there were just some moments where I think our friend from the Philadelphia Inquirer asked the question about, when Mikel Uwan goes on these droughts where he doesn't score, he kind of gets in his own head and has some issues, and then he sorts it out. And Carnell's like, I don't think he gets in his head. Just like completely like I don't know what you're talking about. So that was an interesting moment. And then I didn't catch who it was, but somebody asked just very bluntly. I think I can figure out who it was, but very bluntly asked a completely false to bad assessment of how the game went, saying how how did you adjust the second half after they made you look so awful in the first half? And Carnell just let it rip. It was not a good moment. But all in all, a fairly simple press conference, very Carnell-like of, we played this game, we won, now we move on to the next one, right? They don't play till, I don't think they play till August 9th, right, in an MLS game, because the second is the friendly against Frankfurt. So they get a little bit of rest in some way, shape, or form. Yes, Dave. But it's a healthy victory against a pretty good team that now Colorado flips into Leagues Cup on July 31st.
Yeah, I forgot that it was basically in a few days, about 4 days. I think Tuesday's when it kicks off, and that's what Higginbottom and the other commentator mentioned. So it's a short turnaround for Colorado. They're gonna have a bad taste in their mouth as they fly back west or wherever they're going for this game. But
Colorado,
it's in Colorado. Okay, great. So the substitutions tonight, we had Raffanello for Vasilev late in this match. But the two big ones were Alejandro Bedoya for Quinn Sullivan and Michael Ua for Bruno Damiani. Now, I was a bit surprised to see Quinn get taken out considering how dangerous the offense was. But, Dave, I thought Bedoya came in and did a nice job. Any thoughts on that substitution in particular? Because, personally, it's like, how can you take out Quinn when he's playing as well as he is?
I think, to be fair to you, I think Ali Bedoya is probably getting the right amount of game time or the amount of usage this season. I think this is what's the word? This is probably the right way that he should have used over the last couple of years, where he's actually just he's not playing 90 minutes every single game. He's getting sub appearances here and there, and I think we're probably seeing a better Oli Bedoya now than we ever seen probably the last season and a half, which is the credit to him. I guess he's coming to games fresher. He's late again. If he's when he's starting the game, he's come off the game where he's probably played 10 minutes or he hasn't played featured. He's looking fresher, and we're actually seeing probably him being more impactful on the ball than he has been in recent seasons. Like not just last season, probably half the year before that as well. I mean, I think it's just positive. I think in all credit to Carnell. What's the word? No credit to Carnell. He's managed him right, and I think that's probably one of the best things he's done this season. Is he's done really well at being able to manage minutes of players, whether it's them coming back from injury or you know what I mean. Whereas perhaps in no disrespect, this is probably making this is a crit. Well, I'm gonna say I don't. It sounds like I'm slandering or criticizing Jim Kerr, but it was a big criticism of Jim was that his biggest issue was he'd run players into the ground until they were.
Right.
So they couldn't go anymore. And I think we said it in podcasts years go by. Like we're watching games where Bedoya he was still a veteran older player then, playing 3 games in a week, 2 of them in like the Florida Heat, and then playing a home game in excessive Philadelphia Heat. And we're going, he's played the whole 90 minutes when you had young players like Sullivan, Harrell, Paxton Aronson, etc. on the bench, and thinking, when are these kids going to get minutes?
Well, and that's the thing. These like I get it, Dave. You're saying when are these kids going to get minutes? And tonight on the Apple broadcast, they said Makania didn't see the field at all last year, basically, and now he comes on and is basically a staple of this back line.
That's what I mean. I think that's a credit to Makania as well. I think, but again, we're all coming in the start of the season, all excited to see Glavinovic play, and it's going to be Glavinovic and Glesner centre half pairing. It's going to be those two. And to be fair to McCann, he's come in, he's made that position his own. I thought he looked really solid again tonight. Commanded. And again, it was nice to see a bit of the physical side of him come out, and he was quite dominant against Navarro. And apart from the goal, I don't think really got a sniff. Had really a sniff on goal or around the box. So again. And that again, the goal came because the Union was so stretched defensively, and it was a 2-on-3 and then a late 5-on-3 when the goal actually happened. So I mean, again, I've been really impressed with Makanya, and I'll tell you what, that Glavinovic loan is looking not like it's going to look a bad move because he's not going to get any game time. It looks like he's going to be struggling to find minutes as the season goes on, because I think the Union have now actually got their centre half pairing. Centre half pairing, at least for the foreseeable future anyway. I don't know how long Jacob Gertens has got left, but yeah, I think to be fair to McCartney, I think he's definitely been the unsung. He's slowly becoming the unsung hero and the of the season.
Yeah, Jose, I think you mentioned him or posted some videos on him on Twitter regarding McCartney's performance tonight.
Yeah, he played very well, and if anything, he's making the decision by Philadelphia a little bit more difficult, right? Where Glesnes is actually this January will be the conclusion of his guaranteed contract, and Philadelphia has an option for 2026. So, what do they do with a guy like Glesnes that's making the type of money that he's making, performing back to a healthy standard? But you also have a guy who's much younger. Now, I must admit, I'm not here to break any news or share any information that I'm not supposed to share, but one has to wonder what's going on with Jan Glavinovic, right? Somebody who was given or at least we as press were given a timetable of his recovery, but it has continued to just sort of kick back. There are, at this point, fewer than 10 or fewer matches left in the season, right?
9, I believe, yeah.
So does Philadelphia think about, listen, this was a loan, we gave it a go. Maybe we don't, Philadelphia doesn't trigger the purchase option from Newell's, I believe. Yeah, from Newell's. So and I think that was a guaranteed contract through 2029 should they pull the trigger on that option. So, or was it enough? What they saw, interestingly enough and sadly enough, the match where he got injured was his best match and only match really, right, against St. Louis, where he played actually great and was obviously the goal scorer that night that got the victory while everybody was away on international duty. So a lot of decisions to be made, and I know that there's still a lot to play for, but 9 games left. You figure out, and I think that the 5 million pound elephant in the room, Mike, and I'd love to pick your brain on that, is Mikel Ua is a free agent come January. He's been able to negotiate his own contract since July 1, I believe, should he want to go elsewhere. Are the Union working on something? I personally don't know. I haven't asked, but he's been playing well. He's been scoring goals, and today was a great showing for him to make a case for a new contract or maybe position himself for something better elsewhere.
Yeah, I'll throw up some comments and I'll address that the conversation, Jose. So Cole mentions Danley was great tonight. Lots of those big plays that no one will remember. Yeah, it's a shame that he didn't put one in the back of the net. I think if anything, Danley probably deserved to have one tonight. So I'm sure he's going to be thinking about the one he missed for the next few weeks for sure. Joe says Ua was due for some goals tonight. Absolutely. The XG for Uni was 5, which is just crazy. But I think really important note that Mandy brings up here is the fact that none of the people on the yellow card accumulation list got a yellow card tonight. So everybody basically comes back unscathed. They can heal up, rest up, and they'll be back for the Saturday match. I think it's against Toronto on the 9th, I want to say. I could be wrong there, but I believe it's against Toronto. Danny says, what drives me crazy is the Union are known for being the team that crosses the most in MLS, and when a team can defend, then you need to find another way to score. None of the 3 were. So this kind of segues us into Ua. On Twitter earlier today, I saw 2 people saying, Ua sucks. Put Salalivas in there. Ua doesn't score any goals. Now, Michael Ua, with the brace tonight, is now in 4th place. He was tied with Casper after the first goal. Now he is in 4th place in the Union all-time scoring list. Again, we've had this conversation before. Everybody praises Julian Carranza like he's godsend, but yet everybody trashes Michael Ua, who is now past him on the list. So Ua does a lot that doesn't get recognized. We talked about stretching the defense. We talked about his speed, hold-up play. He's obviously done very well in his assists. I think he's got 4 or 5 assists this year. He's obviously contributed to goals besides scoring. But today, it was a perfect example. You had, as Danny mentions, a bunch of crosses coming in, wasn't working. You had a bunch of players who couldn't score for the life of them. So Michael just takes it upon himself, gets right through the middle into the box, and shoots it perfectly and scores. It's just that's exactly why he's here, to provide that dangerous ability. And we've also seen in his absence what happens when he's not in the rotation. We saw when Bruno was with Chris Donovan and Marcus Anderson and Salalivas. We've seen it when Baribo was away. This club needs 3 reliable strikers, and we have banged the drum that we have never replaced Corey Burke to the fullest extent. I'd say now you could probably say we have, with Bruno Damiani being more and more reliable each match. I'm not going to backtrack on what I said probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. Michael Ua has probably been the most consistent player in this top 3 of Ua, Baribo, and Damiani across the entire season. That includes Baribo's stretch where he was like basically on a drought. So, Jose, I think you listen to options and what his price is and try to bring him back if you can. He knows his club well. He knows the system well. And I don't trust Tanner personally to replace him. He didn't replace Burke.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing, right? Where you, Mike, and the Union and anybody involved may want this player to take on this role of coming off the bench and playing 30, 40 minutes to try to run at tired legs, to try to break down defenses that have been stingy for 60 minutes, etc. But the reality is that maybe that's not what the player wants or what his aspirations are at that point in his career, right? I can't recall how old Mikel Ua is, if you can Google it quick, but he probably has another 3 or 4 year deal left in him, and then maybe one more to seal
30.
away. He's 30. Okay, so he has probably, I mean, if he plays like Bedoya, 7-8 years to go. But the reality is that at a top level to be a starter, he probably has another 3-4 years to really squeeze out as much money out of his career. So I don't know. You may want that. I may want that. The club may want that. But the reality is, does the player feel comfortable with taking that backseat role? And maybe it's telegraphed in a way, right? The club goes and does this record signing with Bruno Damiani, but was it all along telegraphing that Ua is going to be let go on a free? That also seems like a dumb idea. So I don't know. It's we'll see what happens. I personally haven't heard much about in terms of movement for him or anything like that. But then again, I also haven't been asking too much, to be completely honest.
Absolutely. Dave, any thoughts on keeping Michael Ua? I mean, again, as I kind of preach, I think he's really valuable to this club more than people realize.
Yeah, I think I see it from. I mean, I agree with Jose in the sense of at the age he's at now, you'll really, if you want again a longer term deal with more security and everything, you're probably going to look for a move away, because I think for the union perspective, can you afford to really give out a big contract for a guy who's essentially going to be looked at as your third choice striker? Probably not. And I guess from the other flip side as well, isn't it? I guess Jamie Vardy, but he's an exception, is that at the age that Ua's at, 30, he's probably got another 2.5 years maybe left of, being that quick burst striker who, he can gain yards in quick bursts and, hit the ground running. That's his main strength. He's a pacey striker, gets him behind. His pace is what makes him so impactful, and we saw that for the third goal. And as you guys have alluded to in the podcast, it feels like the way the team wants to use him is to play upon tired legs and tired defenses. I mean, again, realistically, from his perspective, is he going to want to capitalize? He's going to want to capitalize on the last couple of years he's got left of, being at that level where he can utilize and take advantage of his pace, and which probably would lead into a contract when he pushes into his mid to late 30s. Yep. Is he going to get that at the Union where he's playing 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, hoping for an injury, do you know what I mean? That's not going to happen. Whereas, is he going to get that? Is he going to get the opportunity for a move away where he gets that guarantee where he's going to be the star striker? But I just think, again, just both goals are so well taken tonight. I think that's another part of his game, which, again, Mikel Ua can be so frustrating sometimes. I think we've said it about Damiani before as well. Like, he has a hatful of chances and he either fails to take any of them or scores the hardest one, I guess. We saw the best of both of us in Mikel Ua tonight. It was the sharp shooting, great work to evade one challenge, and then with his left foot, somehow guiding the ball to the far left corner of the net and squeezing it just past Stefan. It was a great finish, and the second goal as well was well taken, and drilling it beyond through Stefan's legs into the back of the net from a tight angle after a good through ball by Ali Bedoya.
And I think what we're going to forget from tonight's match was also the pass he had to Lukic in the box. Lukic missed a wide open goal, and that was completely started by Michael's pass through the middle to get to him. So, I mean, also we had to think about Baribo too, not coming back possibly next year. So there's so many again, that's next year. That's 9 games. That's 9 games in playoffs away. So we can get that in a little bit. A couple comments here. Michael says, Ua is too valuable to me, what he does on and off the ball. RTM Pack says we're still at the top of the table again, which no one can deny. It's crazy. 9 games to go on our season, and we're at the top of the table still for both the Shield and the Eastern Conference. Danny says, I think he's one away from CJ Sapong. Yeah, I think CJ is third all time behind Sebastian and Daniel. I'll have to check that out, see exactly where Michael Ua falls there. But Colin joins us tonight. Absolutely. Danny says, I think he's best off the bench. Mandy as well, best off the bench. Let's go back to the bench. Alejandro Bedoya did put together the nice pass for Michael that led into that second goal. Raffanello did find his few minutes. I don't think I really had anything noteworthy from the bench players today, aside from the Ua goal and Bedoya, Jose.
Olivas.
And Olivas.
Yeah. Oliva's pressure there was what led to Bedoya passing the ball to Ua. So kudos to him. I mean, it's whatever, like the action before the assist, that was to me pretty telling that, like, yeah, this kid's buying in, right? He's got a lanky frame and he just stuck a leg out, and next thing you know, it bounced off of the studs and found Bedoya, who obviously found Ua. So I just want to make sure we give a little shout out, because that's what Bradley loves, right? It's that constant pressure, whether you're attacker, midfielder, defender. These guys have bought in.
Absolutely. So let's look ahead at this next few weeks. We have a decent break until August 9th. What is that? About 14 days or so. These Union players get to rest. We have Toronto at home, and then we have the Red Bulls for the Open Cup match on that Wednesday, the Red Bulls in New Jersey. Then we host Chicago at home. Jack Elliott's return to Subaru Park on August 23rd. And then we go a week later to Cincinnati to end the month of August. So leading up to that Cincinnati match, and Cincinnati will be battling us for the Supporter Shield at that point, or should be still, we'll have 1, 2 home games and 1 road game. I mean, is it ridiculous to say I think we should probably get at least 7 points out of those 3 MLS games, not including Open Cup, Dave? I mean, I think that's a reasonable number against Toronto and against Chicago, both teams that we've already beaten before, and we're clearly better than.
Again, I guess we're in the business sort of stage of the season. It's a weird one, obviously, because with the Leagues Cup being played as well. Is it just a case of, I haven't really looked up on it, admittedly, is it just a case now that Union will play the teams that haven't entered the tournament and then play the rest post-Leagues Cup, or?
So the Union will play the Red Bulls after their 4 games of League Cup in the group stage. So they have I think 11 games 4 games in 11 days before they play us
Then
on
they
the
play
Open Cup match.
So what, they play the Union and then play a Leagues Cup match, or?
No, they play 4 Leagues Cup matches and then they play the Union.
Yeah, but what happened? Do they then go back to Leagues Cup action afterwards, or?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I mean, if they progress, then does that then not get the game postponed, or?
Well, I guess it would depend, Jose, probably on whether they make it out of the group stage. No.
I'm sorry, say that again. What was the question?
Once the Leagues Cup, whoever makes out a group stage of Leagues Cup, how does that get filtered into the rest of the MLS schedule?
No, that I don't know. That's a very good question. I would think that some of those clubs probably played ahead, meaning to have a game in hand or something like that. I honestly have been, as soon as we found out that the Union were not in Leagues Cup, I've sort of just tapped out and just accepted the assignments from MLS to write about. But I would think that there's some sort of making up and maybe honestly utilizing international windows coming up in September and maybe early October leading into playoffs. September for sure.
Okay, yeah. So Dave, to kind of expand on your question, they play Guadalajara on the 31st on Thursday, and they play Monterrey, Juarez, and Real Salt Lake all before August 10th or 11th, and they play us in the Open Cup quarterfinal on the 13th. But after that, there's no League Cup games on their schedule. So if they don't make it out of group stage, they're done. If they do, then I guess it gets thrown into that whole mix of MLS play.
So to go off there, Mike, I'm just looking at the schedule now of like the whole Leagues Cup. There's no dates for the quarterfinals, so unless they're shoehorning these games in between random like midweek breaks. So the teams will play like a league game, then they'll have to travel to XYZ and do that, and then come back for a. It's bizarre, but again, I look at that running for the Union. I think Jose, you alluded to it beforehand as well. Does the US Open Cup still take priority over the league play, or?
I say yes. I say absolutely yes, because they're technically 3 matches away. They're about to play a quarterfinal, potentially a semifinal, and then you go into a final. Granted, these last 2 are going to be away. I don't see how you don't make that a priority. Where in reality, I can't see the Union not being or finishing. And I'm knocking on wood. I have a real wood table, but I can't see the Union not finishing top 4 and not having a home game for this round of best of 3 matchup.
Does the Open Cup win secure a Champions Cup place, or?
Yeah.
It does.
If they were to win the whole thing, they do get filtered into the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which we've talked about plenty, or at least I've been banging the drum of just the financial ramifications of being in it. If anything, the Union players are probably bummed to not be playing Leagues Cup, considering the amount of money that is paid out to players. That's the big moneymaker for players.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, for me personally, Dave, what you're asking, the quarterfinal game is on Wednesday. So you have the game on Saturday the 9th, Wednesday the 13th, Saturday the 16th. I mean, we go all out for that quarterfinal game against the Red Bulls, especially because they're coming off 4 games in Leagues Cup already. I mean, they're going to come in here fairly gassed, possibly not even fully healthy, considering how many games they're playing in that stretch. But I think if the semifinal is going to get thrown into the mix of the Supporter Shield race, at this point for me, I'd rather win the Open Cup than the Supporter Shield. And I know Bradley's going to go for both of them, and I know he's done so much rotation this year. He's prepared to do that. But Jose mentioned Red Bulls losing to Chicago. Great, good to know. But for me, if I had to pick one, I mean, if you're in the semifinals, you go for that semifinal to get to the final to get an Open Cup. I mean, there's no questions asked. I don't care if we're in second place in the Eastern Conference. If we end up sacrificing and Cincinnati wins a Shield, or they're in first place, or whatever, San Diego wins a Shield, who gives a shit? We've already won the Shield. We've never won Open Cup. I want to win Open Cup.
That's the only thing I was going to say is if you didn't get a CONCACAF Champions Cup place, I sort of could understand why they not prioritize it. If you do get it,
Well, you get it for the Shield race too. That's the thing.
That's what I was going to say. I was alluding to Jose saying like if they didn't, obviously now you know that they do get a Champions Cup place for winning the Open Cup, then yeah, you're 3 games away. That makes most logical sense to throw your eggs in that basket. But then I guess as you sort of alluded to, Mike, as well, you then got the backup plan of if you come first in the Eastern Conference, you win there. But yeah, I think as long as they come top 4 and Joey, they're going to have plenty of chances to potentially get a Champions Cup place regardless. So I mean,
here's a fun question for you guys. Jose, I'll go to you first. The Union finished 2025 season Open Cup champions and Supporter Shield champions. They do not win MLS Cup. How do you feel at the end of the year? That's a real possibility. I mean, that's
take the Shield away, U.S. Open Cup victory, and I think that this is a fantastic first year for Bradley Carnell. And if I recall, and this is a Google search away, but like I think he's only in a 2-year contract with the Union. I think that's what Ernst Tanner was very open about. It's a 2-year leash into his run here. So sure, you may want to win both. I get that, but the reality is that the history and how close this club has been to actually laying its hands on the U.S. Open Cup year after year after year, those first 13 or 14 years 13, 12 years of existence. I think that you are more than thrilled with the U.S. Open Cup. In fact, I would have told you this last year too, or 2 years ago, or both of them. Should the Union have won Leagues Cup, I would have said it's a perfectly success. I don't care if it's a corporate made-up tournament. I'm still thrilled that they would have gotten the what looks like a gigantic espresso machine. I would have been so happy.
Mandy wants to win all 3. I love it. I mean, Dave, what do you think about that? You and me in particular, not Jose as much, but you and I were very much. Union may not make the playoffs, and now we have a potential to win the Shield and Open Cup. Is that enough for you to be happy with this season?
I think it's coming. I mean, I think it's Jose alluded to. I mean, if you say you win the Open Cup, I think it's a successful season. I think it's just ensuring you get some form of silverware, especially in the position that you're in now, where you're pushing on. I think that was probably the worst thing that happened. I think it was 2022 year was the fact that they did so well in the league play, and I think they got to the semi-finals of the Champions Cup, of the Champions League as well. And you think you came so close to winning something, you came away with nothing. Like you didn't even have. I mean, I guess the only positive from that Supporter Shield year was they got bounced in the first game, but they at least had something to look back on and go, look, we won this.
Yeah.
That year was so great, and they didn't have anything to actually look back on. You can anything to look back on and go, okay, it was a successful season, and it was a successful season. But the only thing we'll look back on in that year, which is arguably the greatest year in Philadelphia Union's history, is the fact. I know they won the Eastern Conference, but the best thing they won and the best year in Union history is a last kick a kick to the gut and horrible penalty shootout loss in the MLS Cup finals. Anything you think of in that year. And this year, I think, as you sort of said, if you can win a trophy, and fingers crossed, they can win multiple. If it's the MLS Cup and the Open Cup. They do a double. I mean, that'd be the dream. But again, if they come away with the Open Cup, I think you look at it, clubs in England, Newcastle, who, won the League Cup, and last year it is looked upon so fondly because they actually won a trophy. Same for Crystal Palace, it came mid-table, but they won a trophy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is the main thing now, is to come away with some form of silver, and you can look back at the season and say, look, this team achieved something.
Yeah.
And came from nowhere. They came from nowhere. In the rebuild year, this team came from nowhere, and then again, that is going to raise expectations, but it can only be for the better, right?
I mean, yeah. Listen, I'd be happy with it. We've come so close, and I really, as I think Jose, you've mentioned it before, the Supporter Shield year feels kind of like an asterisk is next to it, considering it's a COVID shield. We played the Revolution like 7 times that season, so it just doesn't feel like it counts as much to me. But listen, we had a fun game today. Fun conversation. I'm glad the three of us could get on again to discuss things. Also, real quick for AAT Sports related, if you are looking to follow the Union 2 and some coverage for them, we just added a 4th contributor, Quentin Hall. So he released his first official article today covering the Union 2's 2-0 victory over NYCFC 2. So that's on the website as well. Check it out. He should be contributing more and more as the Union 2 season progresses. He might hop on for a couple shows as well with us to discuss things. So really excited to get a 4th person onto our team to expand our coverage. I think he actually played MLS Next as well. So he's got some playing experience. He's really a good, sharp soccer mind. But Jose, any final thoughts here for you, sir, before we wrap things up tonight?
Don't give Quentin Hall too much credit because he was coached by my dumbass brother. So don't give him too much credit. He wasn't coached by the best, but he was coached by somebody. No, nothing to add. I was on MLS duty last night, not tonight, so it worked out fairly well having some family over and being able to watch the game and hop on. But if you haven't, to go take a look at MLSsoccer.com. You may have to scroll back a little bit, but I was had the opportunity to write about the Orlando and I don't even remember who they played at this point, but the Orlando game last night, and it was a very, very good game by Orlando. I think that's a team that's going to be sneaky, very sneaky good, as Jim Curtin would say, coming into the playoffs. But beyond that, I'm intrigued to see what that lineup looks like on August 9th, fully knowing that Wednesday is the one that really matters. Toronto at home, I'm not too worried about, to be honest with you.
I mean, that's how I felt tonight against Colorado at home, but we saw how stressful that was. Dave, any final thoughts for you? And when does Gillingham season kick off, sir?
Next Saturday, Accrington Stanley away. The fun begins.
Here we go. I'll have to wear my Jill shirt next week. You'll be bringing over some merchandise for us as well. I can't wait to throw on a new kit. I got my Mexico kit on today. This is the one, Jose, I picked up at Subaru Park for like $50 or whatever. Remember that one? Yeah, I love it. Very comfortable.
Orlando beat Columbus yesterday. And if anything, I don't know if you guys talked about it, but this weekend could not have gone any better for Philadelphia in terms of the results here this past week. Like, it's an unbelievable lining up of the stars. I'm just so glad that they were able to take advantage of it.
And I feel like in past years we would have had that all lined up and we would somehow find a way to blow it. So it's nice that they actually took advantage. And we almost did blow it tonight, but we took advantage of it, ended up with a 3-1 win. But this is Across the Pitch Union postgame show. That's Jose Nunez. That's Dave Miller. Dave GFC Miller. Jose R. Nunez 91. I am Mike Barrera. And Barrera 1323. I have no idea what you're showing on the screen, Jose. What is that? Oh, is that your article? Oh, there he is. Yeah, the MLS writer as well, Jose Nunez. There you go. We see it on the screen now. The next match will be a couple weeks from now, so just stay tuned for us. We'll be back on that day for another Union postgame show. It's also my birthday that day, so we're gonna celebrate. Have some shots on the screen. Anyone want to join us for drinks? Cheers to that.
Mike, a question for you, betting man. I don't know how you would do this odd-wise, but what is the likelihood that you think that the Union stream this friendly against Frankfurt?
Unlikely.
Yeah, they didn't stream Atlas, which I get. That's a much smaller club per se in terms of attraction. That shouldn't be small, but you get what I'm saying.
They didn't stream Wrexham, did they?
I don't recall. I just know it rained. That's all I remember about it.
RT Impact says, "What about Vancouver?" I'm not sure. Well, I think we play them next month, but I'm not sure. Maybe
Vancouver, I
exactly.
think they were 1-0 down last time I saw to St. Louis.
Oh, that's right. Oh, are you talking about the live standings? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm off track here.
Oh no, Vancouver. I was thinking of Minnesota. Vancouver, they play at 3:30. Minnesota currently winning 2-1 against St. Louis. Minnesota were 1-0 down.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh yeah, Vancouver 10:30 tonight against Kansas City. There you go. Keep an eye on them. And then that's Nashville San Diego game was entertaining too. Yeah. Listen, guys, appreciate the comments. Thank you all for joining us tonight. This is Across the Pitch. We'll be back on August 9th for another post-game show. Stay tuned for our match preview for that, as well as anything for Union 2 coverage from Quinton Hall. Go Union. 3-1 win. Doop.
Doop.